Okay, hi everybody. This is Rashab, and I have Robert here with me today. This is the TalkTech Podcast, official podcast of talktechtrends.wordpress.com. Robert, just want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Robert Gianni. I do film. I'm an intern at PCC with a short film director there, where I work with media.
Yeah, and if you ever want more articles and content, always go to talktechtrends.wordpress.com. We are constantly producing new content every day. So let's get started with this podcast today. So one of the first things we're going to be talking about today is the whole new Windows 10 update. It's a big new update. We're going from I think Windows 8.1 to Windows 10, and many users have been complaining that like before Windows 10 didn't seem much of a mandatory update. It was a recommended update, and now it's coming in as a extremely recommended update. Some users are reporting countdowns to upgrade to Windows 10. What do you think, Robert?
I agree with what you were saying earlier. This is a little bit of a forced situation here.
Right.
They're not being given the option to choose whether or not they would like to upgrade.
Exactly.
I personally have upgraded from Windows 8.1 to Windows 10, and I see both significant improvements in performance and just user interface. So I don't understand why these people. I'd understand why some people would want to stick with Windows 7 as opposed to Windows 8.1 or Windows 10. However, I don't see why somebody would want to, let's say, stay with Windows 8.1 and not upgrade to Windows 10.
And one of the things I've been hearing is that Microsoft's funds are going down, its economy is going down. We're not. It's not as a company. It's not doing so well, and so I feel like Windows 10 is their last ditch effort to get users back into the Microsoft operating systems, and it just seems like a forced thing to do if you're trying to get users into the game by just forcing updates on them. And it's not good business practice, and it's certainly, as we can tell, a lot of users are unhappy with this. And this topic was actually trending, so this whole controversy continues to go on and on. And so, Robert, what do you think? Did you like Windows 8.1 personally, or Windows 10 better?
Actually, as someone who uses it day to day, I would definitely prefer Windows 10 over Windows 8.1.
Yeah, I feel like I just read an article actually. Like the gaming performance on Windows 10 tends to be a lot better than Windows 8.1, and this seems to be a big benefit to Windows 10. But I think it's still up to many of the users, especially the people who don't game so much and just need it on a daily-to-day basis. Older folk, for example, who would rather prefer Windows 7 to the new Windows 10. So this update feels forced.
I agree with your performance remarks about gaming. While I haven't personally noticed the improvements while gaming, I've definitely seen Steam runs for me a lot quicker than before, and I have a lot shorter wait time and launch time for games.
Yeah, so it seems like overall people are liking Windows 10, but it seems like putting a gun to their head basically is not helping Microsoft. Users are unhappy. I think it's best as a recommended update for now. And I've heard by some date Windows 7 and 8.1 are going to expire anyway, so that'll have people upgrading anyway.
As we recently saw last year with Windows XP.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right, so we're actually going to move on to the Super Bowl now, which happened this weekend, and
Right.
we're not going to be talking about pictures of Eli Manning looking awestruck as he realizes that his brother now has as many Super Bowl championships as
Yeah, I
him.
saw that photo. That was hilarious, honestly.
That was saw a lot of great memes about that. However, we are going to talk about Microsoft's Surface tablet. We're going to talk about this is actually the AFC Championship we're talking about when the Patriots tablets broke during the first quarter.
Yeah, honestly, I think what happened was that they broke during the first quarter, and I feel that Microsoft should almost compensate the Patriots for like this horrible thing, or give them some money because this is just terrible. Imagine like it's a big football game, and your one thing that you're coaching, you're using for coaching. Like beforehand, we had coaches writing on whiteboards for stuff, but now it's gotten higher, and I feel like we have to go back to whiteboards because if we have tech not working for coaches, I feel that coaches will be not they won't be so willing to use this new tech that's coming out with Microsoft Surface crash happening.
Yeah, and we're also starting to see Microsoft make similar software in other sorts of areas. Recently, we saw the Iowa caucus where Ted Cruz came in first, and so did Hillary Clinton. But that point aside, the voting was done using new software that Microsoft had created for this voting situation.
Right. Yeah, so I feel like if Microsoft's going to make these errors, large organizations and companies are not going to be so favorable to using new technology, and we're going to be stuck in the old-fashioned days of whiteboards and tallying by ourselves in the case of the voting thing. So overall, I think that Microsoft should at least give some money as compensation for this, because this could have even contributed to their loss, because this is the major way that the coaches are deciding plays for football.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, this compensating for the Patriots, I agree with that. But at the same time, the people who this really hurts is Microsoft, right? This is giving, as you were saying, this gives them a bad name to other companies, other situations, and just having a bad label where things break down in important situations just isn't a good scenario for something you want to be selling.
Right. I think throughout this podcast, we're going to have to continue dissing Microsoft. We already started with dissing Windows 10, and now we're dissing them for their lack of ability to even work now. So this is really sad for Microsoft on both sides of the game, no pun intended, that Microsoft's tablets are not working, teams are losing. Yeah, there's a lot of mistrust of tech that's going to come out of this, and that's not what we want. So I feel that Microsoft needs to step up its game now and stop worrying about financial stuff and really make sure that their tech is working when it needs to.
Yeah, I mean, Surface don't exactly have the best track record. If you go back to the first press event for Surface tablets, one of them actually crashes in the middle of it while he's doing a live stream to the monitors, and he has to swap out for another one. So it's just problems like these that keep reoccurring that just don't give Microsoft this good name, because it's just not good to have your devices breaking in important situations.
Right, and on this note, the team for which the Surface stopped working was the Patriots, and the Patriots are already known for their Deflategate scandal, and now we have this new term coming out, Tabletgate, because Microsoft's tablets refuse to work. And so this is a sad story.
Seems like a lot of things have been going good for Microsoft lately. I mean, recently we had the death of the Windows Phone, and just looks like recently a lot of things have been going downhill for them. More on the Super Bowl, I'm sure a tweet you guys all recently heard about was Tim Cook's photo after the game. He's on the field, and he takes a photo, and he posts it on Twitter. Now, if you look at this photo, which is no longer there, it's been taken down, it is extremely blurry. Clearly, he was shaking the camera or something while this was going on, and it just created this whole range of memes and jokes about Apple's next camera and next iPhone, and what it means for the company to be posting photos that that don't look good.
You know, as bad as it looks for Tim Cook's image and his company's image, Apple's image, I almost sympathize with the guy, because he must have been excited at Super Bowl, and cameras can get shaky from the best of us. But I also agree that it was a bad decision on his part to post this, like something like this, on social media, where people are out to get stuff like this and just make fun of it.
Yes, actually, one of the well, I agree with you. One that really made me laugh was they took the photo, right? They retweeted it, and they said they gave it the caption "shot with an iPhone 7." And I'm sure you've all seen the advertisements around the cities, around freeways, where it shows like a beautiful picture, and then below it says "shot with an iPhone 6s" or an iPhone 6 or whatever the current iPhone is, and to further advertise the capabilities of their camera. And that, I don't know, to me that was just something I found pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely bad for Apple's image, but it's not great. And now that the internet's just turned into this jungle of people waiting to make fun of something through a next meme, bad decision on Tim Cook's part. Just putting it up on Twitter, not the best idea. Yeah, that's all I got for that. So recently there was this Chinese company, and this is going on with the trends of drones currently in our culture. I don't know. In the area I live around, we were driving past the highway, and we saw an actual drones showcase. I was really surprised by this, because I'd never seen a shop just dedicated to drones. But over here in China, they're really leading the drone market, because they just created a first human passenger drone, which is it's amazing because it can carry up to 100 kilograms and it can go all the way till 63 miles per hour. So it's fast, but one of the things that sucks about this is that it can only fly at sea level.
Yeah, something I feel like we've been seeing in the drone market and a little lately more in the smartphone market is batteries. They haven't been excelling or evolving at the same rate we've seen processors and other things. And battery life hasn't really changed. In some regards, it's gone down as we move to all these new, more high-powered, power-demanding things. We require more power, and so we're having to put more batteries in. And this is just another one of the scenarios where it's carrying a very heavy load. It probably takes a lot of energy to power those motors and just to lift itself off the ground. And depending on how much you weigh, that time probably varies. So I would personally be kind of worried about that. And then I'm also kind of wondering, what about safety, right? This is a drone, but you're putting yourself in it. So how high can it go? Is it meant to withstand some sort of drop, even if it's just a very, very small distance? Because, well, falling out of the sky doesn't always end well. So.
And one of the things I've heard about this drone is that there are no backup controls in the drone, so the safety is really low here. I mean, it's basically like putting your life in danger. The company has a lot to work on, definitely, because it's not a fully fledged product that we can definitely sell outside in the market. Definitely not yet. We're not there yet. So we're just going to transition over to film here because our podcast will also be covering lots of film and music and video games elements in addition to our daily tech discussions. And one of the things that's been making a lot of news recently is the film The Glassworker, also known as The Glass Blower. And this is a Kickstarter project film, and it's getting a lot of fame for being the first Pakistani hand-drawn animated film. And its Kickstarter started with a goal of $50,000, and it's been gaining funds continually. I think in the recent week it gained a lot more money because it was trending so much on the internet and it was getting so much attention from people. The animation studios is Mano Animation Studios, and the director, his name is Usman Riaz, who is the director of the film, who's originally, I believe, from the United Kingdom. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he's originally from the United Kingdom. He has a small team of a couple people from the United Kingdom and Canada and Pakistan, and it's interesting because it's again Pakistan's first hand-drawn animated film, a country that's not known to make great animated films. So what's your take on that?
Well, me personally, I've been kind of busy lately. I haven't heard about it, but I don't know. The Glassworker. It sounds actually like something kind of interesting. I understand what glass blowing is and what glassworking is. What I'm really interested in actually is this director. He seems to be very skilled, and just looking at the read up of him right now, things like playing piano since he was 9, mastering guitar when as a teenager, and the youngest. Yeah, just like things like talking at TED Talks and just several other things that we see. I'm really interested to see. I'm really interested to see how he handles this and what he does.
And interestingly, he's also from the Berklee College of Music, and so as the director of the film, in addition, he'll be composing the score for the film. So he's both the director and the composer of this film. And wherever this podcast gets up in the comments, I'll definitely leave a link to the first song of his film. Okay, so other news in American film is that recently, I don't know how many of you have heard, but the new release Deadpool, the new Marvel release Deadpool, recently garnered a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yes.
100%.
100%, 5 stars.
Completely perfect?
Yeah, the last time I checked, it was 100%. Usually these percentages tend to go down once the movie's released because more critics review the film. And since it is Marvel's first rated R film, and it is also coming under the Disney company.
Ah.
Right, Disney's first rated R film. So
that's a really interesting turn for them.
Yeah, it is an interesting turn, and I understand that a lot of people are happy with this turn because they believe that it's sticking with the source material. And in fact, I believe it was almost rated NC-17 until they made a couple of cuts to make it rated R. I honestly think that Marvel and Disney both have had a great name for family-friendly movies, and I think this is a bad turn on their corporation side. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it being a bad turn, but I definitely agree that this is a sudden jump. Like, right? We see Avengers. That's probably the really big Marvel Disney movie
Right.
sort of universe going on right now. This is part of that. Until now, it's only been PG-13. Any movie created by Disney has been a max of PG-13. This is a really big change for them.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, it was on the verge of being NC-17, which means this isn't just like barely R as some movies are. This is truly this is going to be a pretty extreme movie compared to the Avengers and what we've seen in the past. So I'm interested to see how this plays out, but I'll probably end up watching it. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be a more adult-centered film, and so it should be interesting to see how it does at the box office. That's all I'll say.